Hello. How's it going? Apologize for the need for an in-car video. I do apologize for that, but I'm extremely busy. I've been truck driving all week, and so you have to forgive me. Kind of working with my father-in-law and trying to make that money because I am broke. So gotta work. So I do apologize for the lack of production I've had. Again, hopefully it'll pick up soon as I'm doing less of the second job thing, but it's just been a crazy week. I'm not going to get into a lot of the craziness. I kind of talked about it the other day, from power going out to having a deer jump into our house that we were hauling, all sorts of crazy stuff. So, and more, some not good news as well. So, yeah, I'll be talking about that stuff maybe later in the week. For now, just know I'll do this video, pregnant food, chicken quesadilla from Taco Bell. So that's what I'm doing. Me and my dogs are on the way to get that. I will lose you for a minute up here. I apologize for that. But other than that, this was the only free time I had to do a video, and I felt that I owed people a video. So here I am. I will be doing the radio show at 11 tomorrow. We will have a constitutional law lawyer that will be on to discuss the cases that came out of Pennsylvania involving election fraud. And then my friend Tiberius will be joining us at noon, who, sorry, this stupid thing. I'm having trouble. My friend Tiberius will be joining me at noon tomorrow on the radio show to kind of discuss the outlook from the election and things moving forward. So it should be a really good radio show tomorrow. So what I wanted to talk about today was, I know there's a lot to talk about with the election fraud and things like that. I wanted to talk about COVID. So just real briefly, I saw the video. I know everyone's talking about it. I saw a lot of the testimony out of Arizona and Michigan, not all of it because I've been very busy working, but I did see much of it. I think there are many, many unanswered questions when it comes to fraud. I believe that the election was stolen. I believe Scott Adams put it better than I could. It's certain that it is, from what we've seen, it is quite easy, or it is quite possible to rig an election through all sorts of manners. And certainly the Democrats had the motivation to do so. There are tons of anomalies. And I saw this video that everyone's talking about out of Georgia. Now, I've also seen the debunk of the video. The debunk of the video claims that these weren't suitcases, that no one was told to go home. I don't know. We shall see. Let me just say this. No matter what video evidence you see, the mainstream media and others and the Democrats will say it's debunked, no matter how damning it is. So we'll talk about more of that at a later date. Now, I want to talk about COVID and the hypocrisy on it, which I'll get to in a second, but I am going to lose you at the tire shop up here in a minute, because we're in rural Pennsylvania, and that's what internet is like here. We just lose you. So I'll just do some filler time until I lose you and then get back. I'll be gone for like 15 seconds coming up here. But yeah, sorry again for all the craziness. Again, 11 a.m. tomorrow will be a regular radio show. All right, I think I'm back. All right, we should be good now, hopefully. So, yeah, so I wanted to talk about a lot of the COVID hypocrisy we see. So, this isn't any new groundbreaking information, but every day it seems it comes out that another Democratic mayor or council person or governor that's claiming that we're all immoral if we don't cancel our Christmas, cancel our Thanksgiving, cancel hanging out with our families, etc. It seems like every day another one of these people is caught, accidentally getting caught violating their own orders. No, this is something that we see that's indicative of the left, and this is just a fundamental disagreement that we have with people on the left that I thought that I wanted to focus this video on. Again, apologize, it's in the car, and I know not many people are watching, but hopefully you get something out of it, and I just love talking. So, to me, there's a fundamental disagreement with a lot of how people look at things that are kind of, I hate to put labels on everything, but I'll say in general, kind of the more socialist, progressive perspective versus those of us that believe differently, like whether it be a capitalist perspective or what. I believe what made this country the greatest country in the history of the world was the focus on the individual and freedom and things like that. And with freedom comes responsibility. It's a double-edged sword. It's two sides of the same coin. And with responsibility means responsibility and personal freedom to do great, and also responsibility and personal freedom to do poorly. That's what I believe. That's what many people that believe in personal freedom believe. Socialism takes a different tact. It says that basically we can't trust people, and therefore we need a big brother government. Now, the truth is we lived in a sort of mixed economy where there is social safety. We see a lot of the need for the government to take care of us. There's something indicative of the roots of that I think is worth talking about, and we see it in this COVID a lot. And you can see it with people that make excuses for these democratic leaders that are violating these orders that they're issuing on other people. In other words, they're demanding we make sacrifices that they're unwilling to make. And it's this idea that personal responsibility isn't important. What you do as an individual means nothing. That's basically what it comes down to. The important thing is, what can the government legislate of your life? Change, and you see it in philanthropy, in all sorts of things. Now, most people call it hypocrisy. When you demand that the government force people to take actions that you yourself are unwilling to voluntarily take, that's hypocrisy. That's what most of us would call it. But to many of these people, not all, but to many of the people that identify as leftists or socialists or progressives, or whatever label they want to put, they feel that they could violate the orders that they want to enforce on you because they're better. Or if not because they're better, because it doesn't matter, they're just one individual, and individual responsibility is not important, it's ability that's important. And when you look at it through a collectivist lens and you're willing to be a hypocrite, you say, well, as long as everyone else is doing the right thing, I could break the rules. That's the idea that we see. Now, I think that it's different with these elected leaders. The elected leaders don't believe in the severity of COVID, and they don't believe in the severity of the lockdowns that they're issuing. How do I know this? Let's say there was a disease out there, like let's say that something horrible came through, like a new Black Plague or, leprosy, some just horrific illness, that was killing, like leaders would be taking their chances going out in public then? Take your chances and violate order unless you, one, didn't believe the illness was as serious as you're letting on, or second, didn't believe that the orders were necessary to prevent yourself from getting the illness. There's no other explanation. Why would you go, if you're Gavin Newsom, why would you go eat at a fancy restaurant called the French Laundry if you think there's a better than not chance you're going to get an illness that will have everlasting effects on your life? You either didn't think the chances of getting that illness were that good, or you didn't think that getting the illness would be that effective of your life. That's the only explanation. If there was credible evidence, for example, presented to me, Rob, if you go to the Steeler game that you bought tickets for this weekend, there's a better than 50% chance that there'll be a terrorist attack and you'll lose your life. Do you think I'd go to that Steeler game? What if it was a 5% chance? Now I'm not going to the Steeler game. 5% chance I lose my life? Of course not. So these people, they don't believe the garbage they're peddling to you. They just don't. They don't believe it at all. And so instead, it's about control for them. But I'm not talking about those people. We know about them. We know that the elected leaders, particularly those in the establishment, think they're better than you. They want to destroy the middle class. This is all about control. So they don't care to violate their own orders because they don't believe the severity of COVID. They don't believe that their life's at risk. Just like almost every person that's healthy's life isn't at risk if you're under 75 years old. They know that. So they don't care. It's all about control to them. What I'm talking about, though, is the millions of people that agree with these elected leaders, and they don't see a problem with these elected leaders violating their own orders. It's the same people that I talk to all the time that are big Bernie supporters, but they don't have a problem with the fact that Bernie's a millionaire. They don't have a problem with the fact that Bernie's carbon footprint's more in 1 year than mine will be in 10 years. They don't care. They don't care that Bernie has private security. They don't care that Bernie lives in a gated community. They want open borders for me. They want me to not own a firearm. They want me to pay more in taxes, even though I'm broke. They want me to change the types of light bulbs I'm using or the type of car I'm driving. Why is that? It's people like this guy Vosh I debated the other day. He said, climate change is going to kill us all. I would happily give up 99% of my money to the federal government in the form of taxes to help fight climate change. Well, why don't you? Well, I'm not going to voluntarily do it. See, it's not that people like that think that, I mean, in some sense, they might think they're better than other people, but that's not the core of the issue here. The core of the issue is they don't care about individual responsibility. They want the government to mandate everyone do something. I'm not going to do something out of my goodwill until the government forces me, but I'll only do it if the government forces everyone. I hear this argument all the time with white privilege. You know how many people I've talked to in my area of the world, almost exclusively have more money than me because I'm a broke person, that tell me about my white privilege while they're white. And I say, what's white privilege mean? Oh, you have to understand that, so much of your possessions have to do because you're white and the ancestry of your family is white. And I was like, does that apply to you too? Yeah. So how much of our gains do you think are ill-gotten? Oh, I don't know. Maybe like half of what we own is ill-gotten gains. Okay, well then why don't you give it up? Oh, well, I'll only do it if the government forces all of us to do it. Oh, so in other words, you've stole people of color's property, but you're more than happy to keep that property unless the government forces you to give it back? That's your argument? And these people don't see that as a sign of immorality. They see that as, well, they're good people. I'm willing to give up my possessions if the government forces me. I'm willing to stop flying first class if the government forces me. I'm willing to pay 50% in taxes so that people have health care if the government forces me on my own. This is a stretch. Oh, real that a lot. If you don't agree with the Green New Deal, really, what are you doing voluntarily right now to help out with climate change? Nothing. But boy, if the government told me everyone had to, then I would listen. You don't care about illegal immigration. Oh, really? What are you doing with illegal immigrants? Well, nothing. But if the government forced me to, and authoritarians are more than happy to have millions of people not only excusing them for their hypocrisy. So think of that. If you were someone who was a dictator, how great would it be to be dictator of a country where a large portion of the people not only sacrifice that you're demanding of others? That's the country we live in. All right. So I have two options here. I could shut this off, or I could order while you're still there. I'm going to order. You guys are going to get to see me order Taco Bell. I apologize.
Hi, welcome. It's awesome. You can go have your order whenever you're ready.
Yeah, can I get a number 7 with a soft taco and a Dr. Pepper? Also with the soft taco with a Diet Pepper, please.
And so I'll have a Diet Pepper.
Sure.
Thank you so much for that.
No
Is
problem.
everything correct on the screen? Welcome.
I look like a good guy donated. They always get me. I'm a sucker. Every time they ask for a donation, I'm like, okay. This is exciting video stuff here, huh? Oh boy. Thank you. There you go.
There are your drinks, sir.
Thank you. Okay. Thanks so much.
$1.
Thank you. Now, you have to be reasonable. You have to be reasonable. Okay, almost done. I feel like I should just start a fast food critic show. Drive through fast foods with my dogs. Annabelle, what do you think? Think of what it would be like to be a dog and pull up to a fast food. All they know is it's like a magic window that food comes out. I don't think this one understands money. Annabelle, do you know about money? No. You don't know about money. She just knows you pull up to the window and then food comes out. Is that it? All right, thanks. Usually very personable at that Taco Bell, so must have a busy day here. But sorry about that. I do apologize. It's not something that I would normally do. But I literally have no time today. Just to give you all an update what's going on. Because of COVID, my wife was unable to have a baby shower, so a lot of people have sent gifts. We were going to do a digital baby shower on Sunday, but due to illnesses that have came up, we don't even think that's possible. So I think we're just going to FaceTime some family tonight and open some of the baby shower gifts that we got. So because of that, I literally have no time. Then hopefully having a quick dinner with my wife, that'll be my entire evening. So yeah, I really wanted to do a video because I hadn't done one all week because I've been so busy. So I'm sorry, this is poor quality, and it, both in content and technological skill. And you got to see some fat guy ordering Taco Bell, but it is what it is. So anyways, and also apologies while I'm driving. I obviously have trouble reading comments. Anyways, that to me is fundamentally what's different. And another thing that's fundamentally different with people again, labels are hard. I'm not saying everyone that's a socialist. I'm not saying everyone that's a progressive, everyone that identifies as a leftist. I'm not saying any of that. But many of those people. So there is the idea of shirking personal responsibility that the government will take care of everyone. And let's be quite clear. You are not a more moral person if you're only willing to do what you consider morally correct if the government uses force to force you to do it. That does not make you a moral person. For example, if I say, well, I'm a bank robber, but if the government would make bank robbing illegal, then I would stop. That doesn't make me a moral person. I'm only willing to... The same is true of people that say, well, I'd be willing to change my lifestyle for climate change. Well, I'd be willing to donate more money to help the poor. Well, I'd be willing to do this, this, and this. Then do it. What's stopping you, Bernie? You're a millionaire. You're still taking every tax loophole you can. And the example is set for all of the people that then follow Bernie. So they don't have a problem. The other thing that I think central, which I'll only briefly mention, is the idea of, I think that many times these people on the left, they view a utopian vision of what humanity is that's just not reality. And because of that, in their strife for utopia, they justify all sorts of horrible, evil things because they think they're basically going to make heaven on earth. But the truth is, they'll never be able to get to that heaven because they underestimate what humans are. We will never be perfect. There will always be bigotry. There will always be racism. There will always be sexism. Going all ways, by the way, not just one way. There will always be murder. There will always be theft. The idea that we could just get rid of all the police and all these problems will go away and we'll have this utopia is nonsense. But once you believe that, then you didn't correctly isolate the problem, as I talk about all the time, which means you can never correctly get a solution. But anyways, back to COVID. I didn't watch it, but I hear that Tim Pool debated Destiny, or at least talked with Destiny, on his show the other day. I've debated Destiny several times. I think I did quite well. I debated Destiny on COVID. Can anyone still point me to the science that says lockdowns were effective at solving deaths? Anyone? Back then, the only thing Sorry. Did not expect to lose you there, sorry. But no one's provided solid evidence of this. And here's what I've learned about COVID. So I talked about this the other day, I think, on my radio show. Everyone's argument is, with COVID, and I mean everyone that, well, not, okay, I don't mean everyone. There are a group of us that's basically adopted the position, at this point, it should be up to the individual to decide what to do. If I feel that it's a danger to go to the restaurant because I might contract COVID, then I won't go to the restaurant. That's simple. But I won't say you don't have the right to go to the restaurant. You want to go, go. I just choose not to go. That's the stance I've adopted. All of the people that want to control your life and tell you what you can do, there's something in common with every single one. And I'm not talking hyperbolic. I mean every single one. Almost every one of those people will make excuses for when they don't follow their own ideas and rules. Sometimes literally orders from the governor. So for example, do you think there's one person in this country or in the first world, is there one person that has literally taken every step possible to social distance and to always follow the guidelines? You think there's even one person? Even if you're the type of person that's incredibly worried about the illness, I'll bet you made an extra trip to the grocery store that you didn't need. You could have planned ahead, you could have bought in bulk and only made one trip, but I bet you made several. And most people, it's worse than that. Most people didn't mind stopping off at Walmart, when they needed some candy or something like that. But they'll criticize you if you didn't wear a mask. Why is it okay for them to violate the orders? Why is that okay? Or even if it's not violating the order, it's still being in public more than was necessary. Why is that okay? Not to mention the hypocrites that went ahead and protested for Black Lives Matter and violated orders. So what the real argument they're making is, it's just like Bernie Sanders with his millions of dollars. Bernie's argument is, my millions are okay. It's okay for me to have incredible wealth, but not the people that have more than me. It's not okay for them. People. It's okay for me to not take every precaution necessary, but anyone who takes one, everyone to check. What Pelosi and the Democrats wanted was to bail out the Democratic-ran states and all of their corporate friends, just like the first bailout. Trillions of dollars spent, basically going to a bunch of people that were already wealthy. That's what Pelosi wanted. That's what the Democrats wanted. So they said that we want the big bailout. We don't want just the bailout to people. Pelosi came out today and said, well, now that it looks like Biden won, now we're okay to just send a check to people. Basically, Nancy Pelosi admitted, of course, we wanted people to suffer and blame Trump, and so not vote for him. Now that the election's over and it looks like our side won, yeah, sure, we'll send people money. Because now it'll be a Democrat, a Joe Biden thing, a Nancy Pelosi thing, not a Donald Trump thing. That's how horrible these people are. And I've told you this for a long time. They didn't care. Nancy Pelosi didn't care if people lost their houses. She didn't care if people struggled. She didn't care if people died. Democratic governors put COVID patients into nursing homes, intentionally killing people. That's what they did. They intentionally they collapsed the economy and then intentionally withheld government aid to people while instead giving government aid to a bunch of art centers and Planned Parenthood and a bunch of other billionaire companies. That's what they did. I'm not saying the Republicans are all super great. I criticized them for voting for the first bailout. The $1.7 trillion I said was a disaster. The majority of the money wouldn't get into the hands of the people that needed it. That's what I said. That's exactly what happened. Now Nancy Pelosi says, yeah, basically I admit we left people struggle and starve and lose their house because we wanted them to blame Trump. But now that we'll get credit, we'll go ahead and pass it. I'm going to lose you for a second. Get a tire shop again. Curse this tire shop. But that's what happened. This is the hypocrisy of this. What did I say from the beginning? I lost supporters. Listen, I'm selfish. I want people to listen to me. I do. I wish my audience was bigger, but I love the audience I have. I do. I had a slightly bigger audience. I lost a lot of people in that audience. Why? Because I criticized the lockdowns when Trump seemingly spoke for them in mid-March. What have I said probably 30 times? I'm going to lose you here in 1 second. And then I'll finish up. Oh, we got a guy turning. Okay, I think I'm back. We talked about this. I've said it probably 30 times. What were the most dangerous things that could happen with COVID? One's the disease. I didn't know how bad it would be, but I thought that the country would get over it. Second's the economic fallout and the situation revolving the lockdowns. That would be much worse than COVID was my prediction, but we could survive that. But what we can't survive as a country is allowing the federal government to take away our rights anytime they say that they have to. The edicts that they're issuing make no sense, and they're not even following them. We're still shutting down schools, despite the fact every scientist says don't shut down schools. We're still doing it. Why? Because the teachers' unions say so. We had thousands of medical experts say, oh, it's okay to go out and protest for Black Lives Matter because white supremacy is more of a threat than COVID. We've shut down churches but allowed liquor stores open. We've allowed casinos open. We've told people they can't go to their family's funeral while we watch all the Democrats attend the funeral of John Lewis. How long will it be if this country's willing to accept this? How long will it be? What can't they be convinced of? You don't think they're going to do the same thing over climate change? Oh, I can't wait for the Green New Deal to pass, and they'll say, they'll ban certain vehicles eventually, and then you'll find, all these vehicles are banned, but we found the governor of California flying in a private helicopter, and he'll come out and say, I made an errant judgment, my mistake. Anyways, back to business as usual. Stay in your house. Don't celebrate Christmas. Don't go see your family or you're evil. I'll be with my family flying on a private jet in my gated community when I get there. But you guys all need to change. You're the problem. And then if you disagree, you're anti-science, even though they don't have science to back up any of the garbage that they're peddling. So, all right, I'm home. I apologize I didn't have a better show. I can read comments real quickly. Does anyone want to say hi? We got 8 people watching. Hello, everyone. Yeah, SJG Perspective is a pal. Sign up for him. Nice to see you, Modus. I didn't see who all was in here. I do apologize for that. Dr. Zoidberg says lockdowns are only ineffective if people don't listen to them. Well, that's partially true. I'll give you a partial truth for that. I do think that there's partially. Why would anyone take them seriously if the very people suggesting the lockdowns are unwilling to abide by them? Right? This is something that I've said for a long time. So let's say in Pennsylvania here. Come on, Annabelle. Dorothy, you coming? Oh, this stupid car. Sorry. Gotta get my dogs out of the car. Oh, you got a close-up shot. Come on. Let's go, girl. Good girl. So take Pennsylvania, for example. There are only so many police to enforce these lockdown measures. So you needed people to buy into them. So our governor's like, hey, you need to make sacrifices. Okay, people might have bought that. But then after the governor called everyone cowards after 3-4 weeks of nonsensical policies, and not just lockdowns, by the way, but arbitrarily enforced lockdowns. For example, Sullivan County, up until at least May, had 2 cases of COVID. 2. Come on in, Bill. Billy. 2 cases of COVID, yet they were totally locked down. Now, this was in a state where we were supposedly going county by county. So how can you explain that? My friend and co-host, Todd Bartley, asked Governor Wolf, wait a minute, if we're going from red to yellow to green, and Sullivan County's not green yet, and they only have 2 cases of COVID, 0 deaths, 2 cases of COVID, what would it look like for a county to be able to become green? No response, no answer, none. So while he's issuing these edicts that don't make sense, okay, even then, maybe he issues these edicts, and let's say, devil's advocate, that they're necessary. These edicts are important to the lockdowns, the mask, all of it, right? How then can you explain Governor Wolf going out after he calls people cowards? And you have to understand, the way to do this would be, I understand it's tough. People are losing their homes. They're losing their businesses. They can't visit their loved ones. It's horrible. I get it, but we need to do this. We need to sacrifice. No, instead he calls everyone cowards, threatens them to take away their operation license to operate a business, and then proceeds to immediately violate his own orders by marching with Black Lives Matter. When he's confronted on it, he says, yeah, I did that. So whose fault is it that no one takes them serious? Secondly, there is no evidence. Again, Sweden's looking as good as almost any other country, right in the middle of the pack in Europe. They didn't lock down. There is no evidence. From the get-go, I said this. Let's see if I can prop this up somewhere. I'll stick with you till my wife gets home. Where would I prop this up? Nope, that's not going to work. Nope. Nope. I guess I'll just lean against. There's several types of viruses, right, that could kill a lot of people. There are viruses that have a ridiculously high fatality rate. And so a virus like that, right, where you would have an incredible lethality. Here we go. I found a seat. It makes sense to have a near total lockdown, right? That would make sense because it's so lethal. It's like we're talking over 5%, 10% lethality that it's anybody that gets infected stands, a 10 to 5% chance of dying. That's horrific. And so you would want a sort of total lockdown. But that lockdown would look vastly different than even the lockdowns as proposed in the United States. It wouldn't be, oh, you can go to Home Depot, go ahead and go to Walmart. It would have to be an almost total lockdown to be effective. Because if not, you would just spread the disease when you went to Walmart and when you went to Home Depot. So even the lockdowns that we were afforded weren't necessary to fight that type of virus. Right? Or there's the other type of virus, one that doesn't have a ridiculously high fatality rate, but it's very infectious. The way you fight a virus like that isn't a lockdown, because it's almost impossible to prevent it from getting out. And it turns out that's what COVID is. 99.975 survivability rate for the majority of the population, right? So far less than 1%. The problem is, once it's out, it's out. There's no stopping it. You could take the China model, weld everyone in their house for a week or two, and it would still spread when you let people out. It's just going to happen. It's highly infectious. It's already out there. There's nothing you could do. And certainly if you're going to do a lockdown, sort of the half-hearted attempt that we saw, oh, go ahead, go to Home Depot. You go here, go to the liquor store. Yep, that's fine. Yeah, you can go. Everybody can go to John Lewis's funeral. Yep, you go head out for Black Lives Matter. Yep, that's all cool. That wasn't going to do it. That wasn't going to stop it. So instead, the way you fight a virus like that is exactly how I suggested. No, I can't do D-Live because I'm on the phone, actually, Freebird, so apologize for that. Right, that's exactly right, Dr. Zoidberg. It's the half-hearted attempt. That's the problem. Right? But with a virus like this, the lockdown was never the way to go anyways. Instead, the way to go, as I said back in March, when it was not popular, the thing you do is you protect the most vulnerable and you encourage the healthy to keep living their lives. That way, it does two things better than what we've seen. And two things, just fighting the virus, two things. In addition to not, taking away people's freedom and collapsing the economy, et cetera, et cetera. But the two things it does is this. One, you're not spending resources on the healthy population, which is important because there's a finite amount of government resources. Government employees, government medication that they would give to be able to send out, time and energy from the government. There's a limited pool of that. So if you allow the healthy age population to continue to go about life as usual, the government won't have to exhaust all these resources on them. Instead, we did the opposite. We locked down the healthy age population. So much so that I could tell you in my little town, the local restaurants and bars here had people from the Liquor Control Board about once a week that would sit in their parking lot to make sure that they weren't open beyond capacity. That's where we're putting our government resources. That's where your tax dollars were going to fight COVID, to make sure that a business didn't open up. That's what they were doing with large amounts. So one, you're not exhausting the resources, but second, and probably more importantly, you are continuing those resources to be created by allowing the healthy age population to continue their lives as usual. Therefore, their businesses are continuing. Therefore, taxes continue to be collected, etc. Instead, we've done a double-edged sword. We exhausted the resources on the healthy age population, and we've collapsed from the greater pool of resources by collapsing the economy. So we locked down the healthy age population, and then what did we do in Pennsylvania? The reason that they were locked down, the healthy age population, was this. Well, hypothetically, let's say someone like me would go to work, to a non-essential job, and while I'm at work, I get COVID, but I don't know it yet. So then I go to Walmart to pick up my groceries. And as I go to Walmart, I spread COVID to another person who then works at a nursing home. They weren't worried that I got COVID necessarily. They weren't worried that the person that I met at Walmart got COVID necessarily. The only time that it became a worry is if we needed ICU beds or if we were spreading it to people that would. That's what flatten the curve was about. The idea was we couldn't exhaust our hospital resources. It never was about, oh, we'll prevent people from getting the illness. That was never it. Flatten the curve means basically the same amount of people get the illness. We just want to spread it out over time. That was the idea. So hypothetically, locking down the healthy age population, it wasn't because you were worried they were going to get COVID. It was because you were worried that they would spread it to someone who it would be serious, like an elderly person or someone with a comorbidity. That was the worry. They're not really worried that a 25-year-old person in good weight with no comorbidities gets COVID. They'll probably get over it in 3 to 4 days. No problem. Statistically, it's almost guaranteed. They were worried that it would spread. So that's the excuse they used to lock down the healthy population. And then, what did they do? Sent COVID patients into nursing homes. That would be like this. That would be like saying, we're going to outlaw marijuana because we're afraid that marijuana is a gateway drug that will lead to people doing heroin. So weed's going to be illegal. Oh, but here's a bunch of free heroin. Wait a minute. If your reasoning for getting rid of weed is it will lead to heroin and you're just giving people heroin, how did you solve the problem? If your reasoning for locking down healthy people was we're afraid they'll spread it to elderly, but then you intentionally sent COVID patients in with the elderly, why the hell did you lock down the healthy people? No reason whatsoever other than they intentionally wanted to collapse the economy. They intentionally wanted to give elderly people COVID because it makes Trump look bad. It gives the federal government more control. The same reason that Nancy Pelosi refused to pass an aid bill to send people money that are struggling until Joe Biden apparently won. The same reason. The exact same reason. The same reason that they tell you every day, oh my God, if you have Thanksgiving dinner, if you have Christmas dinner, if you travel, oh my God, it's horrible. You're spreading this disease, millions could die. Oh, but we're going to go. Us Democrats we're going to go out to eat. We're going to go visit our families. We're going to do whatever the heck we want. But you people can't do anything. That's what we see happening. It's going to happen with climate change. The same hypocrites. Everything they told you about COVID was a lie. Everything. Masks don't work. Masks do work. That was the CDC, World Health Organization position. Got to lock down schools. Oh, no, locking down schools is bad. Remdesivir, that's going to be the drug. That'll be the one. Oh, no, it's bad. There can't be a vaccine that'll be created within this time frame. Oh, now you got to take this vaccine. I watch this, like, the amount of crap, the propaganda that people are just willing to eat up. I'm now watching Twitter and other places and all of these Democrats in the media say, oh my God, Trump supporters might not take the virus, or the vaccine. Oh my God, anti-vaxxers, blah, blah, blah. Meanwhile, I listened to Governor Cuomo say he wouldn't trust the vaccine. I listened to Kamala Harris say she wouldn't trust the vaccine. I listened to Joe Biden say, because they all said, well, maybe Trump's rushing it out too fast. Oh my God. Now, just like that, as soon as their guy wins, oh yeah, or apparently wins, we'll see. Oh yeah, now you got to take the vaccine. Now it's safe, So when they were anti-vax, was social media censoring them? Nope. Didn't see tech companies censoring Cuomo or Biden or Kamala Harris when they were criticizing vaccine. Didn't see them at all. Didn't see that censored one time. Didn't see the Democrats criticize it. Didn't see Dr. Fauci criticize it. But as soon as people on the right say, I don't know if I trust this vaccine, all of a sudden it's, oh my God, they're going to get millions of people killed. And now, as we see, how many times must you be lied to over and over and over again? Now we can see predictably, oh, now everyone should get a card saying that they were vaccinated before they're allowed to travel on airplanes or use a bank or use public transportation. They lied to you over and over. They refuse to live by the sacrifices that they demand you make. And then we're supposed to listen to them when they say, oh, and by the way, here's another infringement on your rights. What next? What if, let's just say hypothetically, we would all take, I'm not saying this. I'm not taking a stance on whether or not I would take this vaccine. Not doing that. I'm just going to ask you this. Hypothetically, and I don't want this to happen, but hypothetically, what if something was wrong with the vaccine? What if it made you sick? And they didn't realize it for like 6 months to a year. Then what? Are you going to get justice? Can you hold those accountable that said you have to have this vaccine or you can't travel on public transportation? You have to have this vaccine or you can't use banking services? You have to have it or you can't fly in an airplane? Do you now hold those people accountable for forcing you to inject poison into yourself? Remember, the experts were certain. They were certain that masks didn't help. Don't wear a mask, they said. They were certain of that. Just like the experts, Dr. Fauci was certain in January. Oh, we're monitoring COVID, but it's not a big deal. And then remember the experts, the media and the experts, they were certain that the fear over COVID was worse than COVID itself. In February, they were certain of it. Oops, we were wrong. Oops, we were wrong. Then they were certain that we had to close down schools. Oops, they were wrong. Even the head of the CDC admits that closing down schools killed more young people than COVID. But this time, trust them. When it comes to the vaccine, now you got to trust them. Now, I don't know. I hope the vaccine is safe. I hope that it works. I'm just saying. Why would we trust trust the experts when they said, you can't go to work, but you can go protest for Black Lives Matter? That's the experts that I'm trusting. The same experts like the health experts that said that in California, that then went out and had dinner with Gavin Newsom at the French Laundry. Those experts? They didn't believe their own dire warnings enough to adhere to their own policies? They said, you can't go out to eat, and then they went out to eat. But trust them. Trust those experts. Meanwhile, the left loves it. Biden voters love it. They're all about the little person. Don't you understand? That's who, ask Bernie supporters, ask Biden supporters. They care about the little guy. That's why the lockdowns that they're promoting, hey, what's up, Paul? That's why the lockdowns thank you so much for the donation. The lockdowns that they're promoting, what have they had the effect of? Well, it's crushed small businesses. It's crushed poor people. But Amazon's making record profits. So's Walmart. So's a bunch of other billionaires. But they care about the little guy. Trust them. Oh, we're sorry that we blew up your economy and devastated things. Our bad. Anyways, give us total power now. If these lockdown policies that they're issuing worked, why are the number of infected going up? But now we keep listening to them. They'll get it right this time. It's just like foreign policy. Every time. We're sorry we were wrong about the last foreign war we got us into. But this one's real. This is we know we told you during Iraq that Afghanistan, we said that with Libya that Iraq was a mistake. Sorry. And we said with Syria that Libya was a mistake. Sorry. And then we'll say with the next one that Syria was a mistake. Sorry. And on and on and on. Yeah, we've been wrong every time, but this time we're right. This time we're right. How many times have we got? You got to trust the experts. Trust them on climate change. They're right on climate change, right? They're absolutely right. I mean, forget in the 70s when they said that an ice age was coming. And forget then, the 40 other times they said that we only had 4 or 5 years, then catastrophe was going to strike. Forget that they were wrong every time. But now you got to believe them. Now we only have X amount of years. And the solution's always give them more power. Do you ever notice that? The solution's never, hey, you know what? The problem is we're all flying around in private jets. We'll give all that up. Oh, there's income disparity? Us in Congress will give up all of our money. It's never that, is it? It never negatively affects them. Isn't that odd? How the people that identify the problems and make the solutions never make a solution that negatively affects them. Isn't that odd? It always gives them more power. I'm sure it's just a coincidence. You need to sacrifice more, though. You're selfish. Gavin Newsom could go do whatever he wants. But you're selfish if you want to see your family in Christmas. And again, it goes back to what I was saying at the beginning of the video. And I know there weren't a lot of people here. There was something about, and I don't mean everyone on the left, but this socialist, progressive, there's something about them where they don't think that personal responsibility matters. They believe in more of a collectivist ideal, and because of that, they believe that it's the government's job to force you to do things, not your job to make decisions for the best for yourself. That's what they believe. And so they don't have a problem being hypocritical. They don't have a problem with Bernie Sanders having 3 houses where he lectures other people on the need to give more. They don't care. They don't care that a bunch of Democrats that want to take guns away have armed security. They don't care at all. So that's where we're at. Yeah, with the COVID stuff, I'm glad to see that more restaurants, like the one in New York the other day, are standing up saying enough's enough. I wish more would do it. That's what we need. We'll see. So, alrighty. I do have to get out. Like I said, tomorrow at 11 a.m. will be my radio show. We have a constitutional lawyer that's going to explain some of the fraud court cases that'll be coming up, the election fraud court cases. My friend Tiberius will be on at the noon hour to discuss the election. My dog Dorothy might make an appearance. You want to look at the camera? Look over here. No, you don't want to look at the camera, do you? No? Do you look at? Oh, my goodness. All right, this girl's antsy. I gotta go, so the wife will be home soon. But apologize that I haven't been putting out much content. Hopefully, I will be putting out more soon. So, all right. Thank you so much. As always, have a good one. Wife's here. I gotta go.